Welcome back to another Waynos Fotos video, and just before we jump into the video, I just want to apologise. I'm a little bit stuffed up and croaky in the throat and the nose, so forgive me on that. But anyway, this video is about the most expected release in 2021. Shimano DURA ACE has now been dropped, the embargo has been lifted so we can see it in all its glory, and we can ask ourselves what is the good, the bad and the ugly of this new group set. So let's roll an intro and let's get into it. Now we've got a few things to cover on this grip set because they've changed quite a lot of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read off a list that I've made, and then we're going to dive deep into them. So the key points we're going to discuss today are the updated braking system, 12-speed, the hybrid electric system, the fact that they've offered no mechanical, the new crankset and crank rings, and is it backward compatible, the free hub, and what sort of cassette they're using. Now the braking system is a really important part of the bike. It may not make you go faster, but you definitely want to slow down sometimes, and you want your braking system to work well. And it's good to see Shimano have really spent a lot of time and done a lot of work on this new group set with the disc brake option. And they've done quite a lot of stuff. What they've done is they've got rid of that ice tech and they've just got a completely steel discs now. So there's none of that delamination or anything like that, or different materials expanding at different temperatures. So they've basically gone away from that technology, which had some problems. The caliper now is a complete one piece, so it's not a two piece. And I would probably suggest that's to do with thermal expansion and getting rid of the heat, because as soon as you have a two-part system or a part that's connected together, to transfer the heat from one part to the other can create issues. They've also changed the brake levers and the top of the brake nibs. Unfortunately, it looks like that whatever you want to call it on top, that big piece that sticks up, has actually got bigger. But I know aesthetically this may not be what people want to see, but I think for functionality, if this is going to increase the performance of the braking system, I think it's worthwhile. And that's probably got to do with the mechanical leverage that they get, because when you pull the brake at the top, you need to go from a big chamber to a very small chamber, so you get the force and pressure on the pads to actually brake the bike, because the force is being applied very close to the hub. So you need a lot more force than you would with a rim brake caliper that it's on the outside of the wheel. And the problem with that is that because you've geared it up mechanically, it doesn't give you much movement on the brake pads coming off the disc. So they may have actually had to redesign that, give it more brake fluid volume so they can pull the pad further away from the disc, which in the whole scheme of things is really what we want. I mean, that's a great thing that Shimano have done there. Now, of course, what everyone expected, Shimano now offers 12-speed. And one thing that I'm really glad about is that what they've done is they've done what Campagnolo have done, and they've just made it a extra cog rather than going to a 10-tooth like SRAM have done. So we've got our 11-tooth as the smallest cog, which is really good, because then it doesn't create less efficiencies, and also it doesn't create more wear in the transmission, because going to a smaller cog is, as I've discussed in some of my previous videos, not the most efficient way to go. So I'm really glad Shimano have done that. And the other great thing as well is they've made the 12-speed cassette fit on the old 11-speed free hub. Even though the new free hub is changed, they've put some more splines in, where we've had probably a longer piece in the 11-speed free hub. So what they've done is they're giving it more parts to engage on the free hub, but the cassette is still compatible with the old 11-speed free hubs, which is great from Shimano. People don't have to go out and buy new wheels and so forth, or get their free hub changed like you have to do with the SRAM system.
Everything I do is a choice, not a sacrifice.
Well, Shimano have decided to go with a hybrid system which is part wireless and part wired. So the back part of the bike where the two derailleurs are and the battery, which is still now placed into the seat tube, is all wired together. And all of the connectivity is done through the rear derailleur. So you're charging and all your Bluetooth dongle and all that. The Bluetooth dongle's gone, so it's all built into the rear derailleur now. So that's neatened up the group set. And then the brake levers have a corn cell battery that then wirelessly connects to that part of the bicycle. Now, I really can't see the advantage in doing this apart from the fact that it makes it a little bit easier to install initially and maybe a bit aesthetic to the way that now they're designing the integrated handlebars. But really functionality wise, once it's installed, I can't really see that there's any advantage to doing that. Just the fact that people want wireless for some reason, because I know the SRAM one is very, very easy to install. But unfortunately, that isn't really the case here with the Shimano, because you still got to fit the battery and somehow secure it into the seat tube the same. You still need to wire up the front derailleur and the rear derailleur. So I can't really see a big advantage to that. As a customer, it'll operate and work identical. Although Shimano are saying that they've increased the change speed of this system, so that could be an added advantage, but that could have also been done with a wired system. Now, Shimano have done quite a bit of work on the chain rings and the crankset. They're now offering a different size standard chain ring. So instead of having the 5339, they now offer a 3440. The mid-compact and compact stay the same, but we're still not seeing any subcompact that some of the other brands like Campagnolo are offering, or some aftermarket companies. The actual crankset itself has actually been redesigned, and it's gone from an asymmetrical type shape to a symmetrical type shape. And this has got to do with the forces in the crankset and how they're calculated by the power meters. Now, I'll link up the top here somewhere. There's a really good video that Pete Talk did, so go check that out. Now, the other thing that is a bit of a question mark that Shimano haven't even spoke about is the crankset failures of their Holotech. Now, we've seen this problem over a number of different models in the past, and it's almost like as if Shimano don't want to acknowledge it, because they're not actually saying that they have addressed it or they've changed anything. And I do hope that they haven't just used the same technology on this new group set, and once people have had it for some time, we're going to have problems with these separations that we've seen in the past, where with the Holotech it's a two-piece design, and due to humidity and corrosion that builds up inside the crankset, they eventually fail. So hopefully they've done something there to fix it, even though they're keeping very quiet about it and haven't said that they've actually addressed it.
数々のファクターが複雑に絡み合う中
When you're racing at world championship level, equipment really does make a difference.
When you're spending up to 6 hours on the bike, it wears on you, so the more comfortable it is, the better it'll be.
Well, in conclusion, we've seen some really good upgrades from this new Shimano Duraace group set, but it's a bit of a mixed bag because, yes, we've got the brakes had some significant research in them, but in some other places we've kind of gone backwards for us, the consumers. Like, you know, we're not offering the mechanical systems anymore. So, you know, I can understand that they don't want to make extra parts because it's a mechanical group set, but what it's doing is it's just pushing the price of the group sets higher up, because if you want to ride Duraace now, you've got to buy the Di2 one. You can't buy the cheaper mechanical, which was significantly cheaper. So now you have to pay the premium price, whether you're running rim or disc, it has to be electric. And if you want to run a rim brake bike, it has to be fully wired. You can't use the wireless system. So you're not getting the benefit of that new group sets feature. The other thing that I think is a little bit disappointing is Shimano hasn't really addressed this crankset problem, where we know that the moisture, if there is any moisture that's inside the Holotech, due to the changes of temperature, you get the humidity inside becomes a vapor, then goes to water, goes to vapor, goes to water, and it creates a corrosion cycle inside the two parts, and eventually they fail. And this is something that a lot of people have problems, and it's a very well-known problem, but Shimano have not openly addressed it. They may have addressed it, but they're not saying that they've addressed it. So that's a little bit disappointing. The good things that I like about this new group set is the compatibility backwards with the free hub and your cassettes is really good. They didn't go to a different system, so you don't have to buy a new free hub to fit on, which is great. And also, they're getting rid of all of those other little bits and pieces like the dongles and all this sort of stuff, and they're building it all into the rear derailleur, so your charge port and everything is there. Now, the only negative I see about that is having a charge port on your derailleur. It's where you get a lot of dirt and muck, and that may impact the way that the actual plug goes in. I imagine it has a seal, but you know, some people are lazy and they don't put their seal back on, so if it gets dirt and muck in there, it might make it a little bit difficult to actually plug this connection in. So it's probably not the most ideal place to put a connection or a plug for charging up your Di2 system. Well, anyway, guys, that's my review, my first upfront review of the new Shimano DURA ACE system. Thanks for watching. Cheers.